Welcome to Prana Fictitious Story. Before we start today's story, we would like to make a small request to you. Please subscribe to our new channel and support us. Your support will encourage us to bring more original and unique stories. So let's start today's story without any delay. Confused Desire. Karan was sitting in the room, and the atmosphere there was so heavy that it felt as if tension had surrounded the entire room. He was trying to look casual. He had just come to spend some time with Arav. But as soon as he looked at Raghav, who was standing very close to Arav, his entire body language changed. He spat out his teeth in anger, but he kept a neutral expression on his face. He didn't want to do anything explicit in front of Arav. Raghav never liked Karan. He couldn't stand being around Arav at all. He used to bring Karan to the edge of his emotions and make him stand up, but he always tolerated him, only for Arav. Now when they were standing in a silent connection, a strange feeling was happening in Karan's heart. What is going on between these two? Karan thought, what if Raghav snatches Arav from me? He felt jealousy in his heart, which he had never felt before. But he suppressed his emotions. He didn't want to look weak. He wanted to be strong. He wanted to keep everything under control. But when he saw Raghav, who was only looking at Arav, Karan's heart and his speed started beating fast. He was feeling uneasy. Raghav didn't say anything. He just stood quietly, only looking at Arav. Karan didn't understand how Raghav could keep every moment under his control. Karan thought, I won't let this happen. Karan lowered his shoulders a little and moved forward inside the room. He gave Arav a slight smile, but his mind was boiling with anger and jealousy. So what's the plan for tomorrow? Karan asked. His voice was casual, but the tension inside him was clearly flowing in his voice. Arav turned his face to the other side. Karan noticed that his expression had changed a little. Was he guilty? Or was it just the awkwardness of the situation? Whatever it was, Karan didn't like it at all. When Karan sat next to the bed, his gaze was constantly on Raghav. He was trying to understand his reaction, but it had no effect on Raghav. His entire attention was on Arav. This made Karan even angrier. He wanted to get up and ask Raghav, what's going on? Why is he doing this? Karan had always protected Arav. He used to keep him safe from everyone's eyes. But now, Karan felt that there was something between Arav and Raghav that he couldn't ignore. As time passed, Karan's doubts were increasing. He always kept Arav close to him. He used to protect him from every danger. But now, when they were talking so comfortably, Karan felt a strange helplessness in his heart. He had always kept everything under control in his life. But now he couldn't understand that Arav was going away from him. When Karan came into the room and looked at him like this, he thought that he would spend time with Arav. But as the night passed, the tension and jealousy were increasing. The connection between the two was out of Karan's control. When Arav felt a little uncomfortable, Karan felt a tight knot in his heart. He didn't like it at all that Arav was looking so vulnerable. He wanted to keep him away from everyone's eyes. But he couldn't do that. Karan thought that he wouldn't let him win. He put his hands in his fist and said, I will bring Arav back to you. But Karan knew that he couldn't do that right now. He would have to wait. Until Arav couldn't understand his feelings, he would have to bear everything. When Karan finally spoke, his voice was steady, but the mix of tension and jealousy was clear in it. He thought that he should check. Tomorrow is my meeting, and when I saw you here with Raghav, I couldn't stop myself. Arav looked at Karan in shock. Karan understood that he might have said something wrong. He said to himself, I mean, you are here and I came here for business, so I thought why not explore this city together? That's all I came to say. His words had a little force, and his smile seemed to be forced. Arav's face faltered for a while. Karan noticed, but Arav soon masked his expression with a small nod. Silence was lingering in the room. Karan looked at Raghav again. His eyes were unreadable. But Karan felt that there was something inside him, something dangerous. Seconds were slowly passing. Karan was realizing how far he had gone from Arav. He always thought that his bond would never break. But now he seemed fragile. All right, Karan finally said as he got up. I'm leaving. Take care, okay? He looked at Arav, but his eyes were still on Raghav, both of them. As he was walking towards the door, Karan felt a confusion inside him. Can he really get me away from Arav? Karan came out of the room, but there was a storm of emotions in his mind. He didn't want to face them. He was always a man who kept everything under his control. He never let anything slip from his hands, but tonight, everything was slipping out of his hands. Slowly, as he tried to grab it, everything was slipping away from him. His control was getting loose. It felt as if he was losing to Raghav. Raghav, Karan thought as he brushed his teeth. If I could, damn his presence. That man's calm and almost sad nature was something that was completely different from Karan. Raghav was composed, stable, like a storm that was yet to come. He didn't show too many emotions, but there was something in his eyes that Karan couldn't ignore, something that was raising a wave of jealousy inside him, a feeling that he could never control. He stopped at the stairs, taking a deep breath and waving his hands in his hair. Karan thought, I can't let him get lost. His heart was beating very fast. Arav's thought of getting away from him and Raghav's taking his place was making him feel weak, something that he hadn't felt in years. The anger he was feeling for Raghav was almost unbearable. But what should I do? Karan asked himself. What should I do to make Arav feel my importance? What should I do to make Arav love me more than you? He had never expressed his feelings for Arav. They had a secret relationship. They worked together. They trusted each other blindly. Karan was always there for Arav, and Arav was there for him. But tonight, when he saw a spark in Arav's eyes, a hesitation, a confusion, Karan understood how easily he had taken the relationship between them. I was always there. He was feeling a bitterness in his heart. He was feeling a bitterness. I always tried to save him, but am I the one he wants? Or not? Never. This thought was eating him from within. Karan couldn't get Raghav out of his head. The way Raghav was dominating everywhere. Arav was always so easy with Karan. But now it felt like a wall had been built between Karan and Arav. He turned quickly and started walking towards his room. His thoughts were wandering in a whirlpool. His conscience told him that he should confront Arav, he should talk to him, he should ask him what he feels. But Karan knew that it wasn't that simple. The problem wasn't just Raghav. The problem was that Arav was changing and developing, and Karan didn't know where he was fitting in. Both were moving forward. Yes, but Karan felt like he was lagging behind, like something was going out of his control. Inside the room, Arav was sitting by the bed. He was feeling a throbbing in his heart. He felt that Karan's eyes were on him. The tension in the room was so deep that it could be cut with a knife. But as soon as Karan went out, he felt lighter. The distance between him and Raghav felt like electricity. Arav was feeling a charge that neither of them had accepted yet. There was an unspeakable tension between them, something that both of them were afraid to accept. Arav didn't know what to do, but he couldn't ignore it either. Raghav's presence was always intense, but now it was even more intense, more real, more overwhelming. Why am I feeling so confused? Why am I feeling so confused? Arav thought to himself, waving his hand. Karan and I have faced a lot together. He has always been there for me. But Raghav. His thoughts stopped at the sight of that night when he saw his eyes in the bar. The way Raghav looked at him. His gaze was so intense that Arav had never felt before, and he felt a shock in his read. But as much as Raghav couldn't get away with it, Arav still had a part of Karan in his heart. He didn't want to hurt him. He didn't want to break the bond that he had made with Karan. The fear of losing Karan, the fear of losing a constant part of his life was giving him a hard time. But the attraction for Raghav was something that he couldn't understand, and he was afraid of it too. What should I do? Arav thought to himself, feeling even more confused. Suddenly, the door opened. Raghav came in, and his presence surrounded the entire room. His eyes met Arav's, and for a moment, they didn't say anything. The silence between them was heavy, filled with unspoken words, with those feelings that both were not ready to say. Raghav's eyes became a little soft, and for a moment Arav saw something in his eyes, something that was weak and honest. But as that moment passed, Raghav's face returned to its usual coolness. When you need me, let me know, Raghav said. His voice was soft and steady. Arav just shook his head, couldn't say anything. The tension within him was still rising, as if a storm was about to rise. As soon as Raghav turned and went out of the room, Arav's heart started beating fast. A storm of emotions was going on inside him, and he felt completely lost. At that moment, one thing was clear for Arav. He was trapped between two worlds, two people, two desires. He stopped outside the room in the current hallway when he heard the sound of the door closing. He moved a few steps forward, but then stopped there. He heard Raghav's voice, and he could almost feel the deep, soothing silence between them. At that moment, Karan realized how much he was ready to do for Arav, no matter what happens.